Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lauren, and I am a part of the USAJOBS customer experience team. I'm so glad you can join us today for the Land Your Job Mastering Your Two-Page Resume webinar. The purpose of this session is to share best practices that will help you create a strong resume that is 2 pages or fewer, in compliance with the new federal rule on resume length. We'll start off with a short presentation that outlines the new requirement and highlights the key elements of an effective federal resume. Then we'll transition into a live demo on USAJOBS. During the demo, I'll walk you through the platform, point out important features on the landing page, such as upcoming events, and highlight how to build and strengthen your profile so that recruiters can find you. As we go along, please try to keep your questions focused on resume best practices. I'll also share links in the chat and links in the comment section to official OPM guidance on creating resumes within the 2-page limit, as well as resource pages for job seekers with information on federal hiring and career opportunities. We're excited to get started, so let's dive in. The training objectives for today are: 1, you'll learn how to create an effective resume within the new 2-page limit, understand essential resume elements for federal applications, create a resume that communicates your qualifications and gets you noticed, upload or build your resume on USAJOBS and make it searchable by federal recruiters. In addition to these training objectives, we'll also transition to USAJOBS, where again, I will highlight some key elements of the USAJOBS website and the events page and go over the key elements of your profile. Here's a little background on the new 2-page resume limit requirement. The Merit Hiring Plan requires federal agencies now to only accept resumes that are 2 pages or fewer. It helps to create a shift from traditional federal long resumes to concise, skills-focused resumes. If anyone has applied for federal opportunities in the past, you know that traditionally, we've allowed resumes to exceed 2 pages. Now, with the new Merit Hiring Plan, we've made a requirement for agencies to only accept resumes that are 2 pages or fewer. It also helps to align with skill-based hiring and competency-based assessments. And it helps to streamline the hiring process by reducing applicant burden, by helping you transition easier from opportunities between the private sector and the federal sector. As of September 27th, USAJOBS implemented a technical solution that limited the resumes on USAJOBS to 2 pages or fewer. So now any resumes uploaded or created in USAJOBS after September 27th must meet that new 2-page requirement. The hiring agency or HR specialist must be able to read your resume to determine whether you meet the eligibility and minimum qualifications for your application. You want to make sure that you are reading the how to apply and the required document section of the job announcement to see if the hiring agency has additional resume requirements. Now, we are going to go over resume requirements, but again, sometimes agencies will have additional resume requirements. So that's why it's important to, again, read through the job announcement and specifically look at the how to apply and required document section to see if there's any additional resume requirements that that agency might be asking for. Applicants who submit a resume that is longer than 2 pages will be found ineligible for their consideration, and they will be informed of their ineligibility and the status of that notification via email. Required resume elements. Now, again, I'm going to say this with a grain of salt. Agencies will have additional resume requirements sometimes. So it's, again, important to read through the job announcement to see if there's anything additional that the agency may consider a requirement. But these are our essential requirements for the resume: your contact information, name, email, and phone number. You also want to include your work history or your work experience, your job title, series and grade if it is a federal opportunity. You want to make sure that you're also including start and end dates, month and year. You also want to make sure you're including hours worked. This helps the HR specialist determine if this opportunity or your previous work experience was a full-time experience or a part-time experience or volunteer experience. You also want to make sure that you are aligning the job announcement or aligning your information in your resume with the job announcement. You want to make sure that you're addressing all of the required qualifications in that job announcement in your resume. And you also want to make sure that you are demonstrating your ability to perform the task at the required level stated in the job announcement. Here are additional required resume elements: education, certifications, and licensings. Some job announcements require specific education, licenses, or certifications. Include all of that necessary information if it is required as a qualification. So there are some job announcements that have education as a requirement for you to be qualified. You want to make sure that in your resume, you're including that educational information. You want to make sure that you're including additional supplemental information in your application packet, such as your transcripts, maybe a letter from your registrar's office saying that you are a current student if you're applying to opportunities for current students. Those are the additional supplemental documentation that you might need to include to supplement the information that is in your resume around your education. If you have certifications, you want to make sure you're including that certification as a supplemental document. I'm actually going to go to my USAJOBS profile where I'll actually show you the place where you are going to upload your resume and upload some additional documentation to strengthen your application package. In the education information, you want to make sure that you're including the name of the school or the institution. You want to make sure you're including your completion date or your preferred completion date or your future completion date if you are a current student and you haven't graduated yet. You want to make sure that you're putting your degree information or your degree type and your GPA information. Now, here are some optional resume elements. And again, I'm going to say this with an asterisk. Read the job announcement, as some of the optional elements can be required in sub-job announcements. So even though we have them listed here as optional, there might be some opportunities that you're applying to where these optional elements might be a requirement. So some optional elements of your resume could be your current security clearance status, any job-related trainings, if you speak any additional languages or have any language skills, any organizations or affiliations, professional publications, and references. Again, you want to make sure that you're reading the job announcement, because some things that could be considered an optional resume element for one application could be required in another. For example, I applied to a job one time where they were requiring me to upload a performance appraisal. That is an optional resume element that was not required for one application, but now was required for another. So again, please make sure you're reading through the job announcement, as some of these optional resume elements could be required. Here are some best practices for writing a 2-page resume or fewer. Make sure that you are prioritizing relevant and recent work experience. Again, many of us who are familiar with applying to federal opportunities in the past, we've never limited the length of your resume. You could typically have a resume that could exceed sometimes even 6 pages. Now with the new 2-page resume limit requirement, you have to now prioritize and be intentional about the information that you are putting in your resume. You want to make sure that you're focusing on work experience that is relevant to the qualifications and the duties listed in that job. So that might mean that you have to tweak your resume every time you apply to a job. You want to also make sure that you're removing outdated and non-relevant information. I have, and like many of you, have 10 to 15 and years of work experience. it might be hard to really jam pack all of that experience into 2 years. So when you're looking at the jobs that you're applying to, you want to be intentional about what you are picking out so that you can highlight that information in your resume. Some things may not be relevant. And now, because the resume is 2 pages or fewer, you have to be really intentional about what you want to showcase in that resume. Use plain language. You want to use concise, results-focused language that the HR specialist can easily understand. Many of us come from different backgrounds and industries. I come from a military background. Some people come from a medical background or an IT background, and we use and speak languages in those industries. So make sure that you are spelling out those acronyms and not using any of that jargon. That HR specialist is not going to understand typically maybe what, an acronym for an IT system could be, or an acronym for, a form that you worked in, in a medical field. Make sure you're spelling that information out because they're not specialists in those fields. You were. So make sure that you're not using acronyms and you're not using any jargon so that the HR specialist can understand what you were doing at your previous employment. Make sure that you're also tailoring your resume again to the job announcement. Ensure your work experience descriptions are aligned with the job announcement and again addresses all required qualifications in the job announcement. Brief descriptions to demonstrate your ability to perform the task at the required level as stated in the job announcement. Here are some additional best practices for writing a 2-page resume or fewer. Demonstrate your skills and your competencies. Include your level of experience. So some agencies may ask you, what was your level of experience? We don't only want to know what you did, but in what capacity did you do it? Were you the project manager? Were you the team lead? Were you a senior analyst, a supervisor, a subject matter expert? Did people come to you for consultation on projects? What was your purpose in some of those roles or some of those things that you did at your previous employment, right? It looks better to say I was the project manager versus, maybe I was a part of the team, depending on the type of opportunities you're applying to. So you want to make sure you're showcasing, those skills, those additional skills, right? If you were a subject matter expert or people came to you for consultation or you were a team lead or an analyst and things like that. Use numbers, metrics, to qualify the work, to highlight your accomplishments. If you saved your agency or your previous employer time, or maybe you saved the money, right? Or you exceeded, a deadline and those types of things. You want to make sure that you're highlighting those good things for on your resume. You want to make sure that you're also including volunteer work if it's relevant. So if you have volunteer experience, even if it's not paid, if you had an internship opportunity or any other non-paid work qualifications, and it aligns with what you are applying to, you want to make sure that you're highlighting that as well. Volunteer experience can be on your resume, especially if it is relevant to what you are applying to. And then you also want to make sure that you're quality checking your resume before applying. One of my go-to questions is, if I read my resume at first glance, can that hiring manager see my skills and my experience within that first 10 to 20 second window? Do I sell myself? Am I effectively communicating that I can do what they're asking me to do? And are there, again, any spelling or grammatical errors? You may want to come back a day later to your resume with fresh eyes, or maybe give it to a friend to read to make sure that you don't have any spelling or grammatical errors in your resume. And again, lastly, as asking yourself, have I addressed all qualifications listed on this job announcement? And that job announcement will tell you exactly what they're looking for. And you must then take that information and, in your own words, try to express that information in your resume to that HR specialist to address, again, the qualifications. Now, you can still upload or build a resume on USAJOBS, even though we have a new technical solution that does not allow you to upload a resume that is longer than 2 pages. We have not taken away any functionality where you can either upload or build. So you can still do both. If you decide to upload your resume on USAJOBS, here are some recommendations from us. So you can use a 0.5 margin. You can use a 10-point font for your main content. and a 14-point font for your headings. A lot of different formats are still accepted. You can use a PDF, you can use a Word, a JPEG, a PNG, or any other files, again, are still accepted. You still have the flexibility to use different formats to create your resume. Uploading a PDF resume is preferred though. It allows for best practices to maintain formatting, especially with that new resume requirement for it to be 2 pages or fewer. We found that PDF allows and maintains formatting more easier. And then again, we still allow you to have 5 resumes in your USAJOBS profile. So if you are new to USAJOBS, we do allow you to upload or build 5 resumes. But you are only allowed to make 1 searchable. When I sign into my USAJOBS profile, I will show you again where you can upload your resumes and where we can upload some of that additional documentation that we talked about earlier in the presentation, such as some of those educational supplemental documentations and things like that. We still allow you, like I said earlier, to build your resume on USAJOBS. What I typically love about building your resume on USAJOBS is that it starts with information from your profile. So if you go into USAJOBS and you have a profile that is already complete, or at least you have some elements of your profile complete, when you go to start building your resume, our system will start pulling information from your profile to start building the bare bones of your resume for you. So if you don't have a resume and you are starting from scratch, but you have a profile in USAJOBS, you essentially have a resume already built for you in a way. So if you go to build a resume in USAJOBS, we will start pulling elements from your profile, such as your work history, such as your educational experience, and we will pull that information to start building your resume for you. So that's what I like about building the resume on USAJOBS. If you're starting from scratch, but again, you have a profile, essentially we will start trying to build a resume for you. So it makes it a little bit easier. What also makes it easier if you build a resume on USAJOBS, it allows you to duplicate or edit your resume easy, which allows you to tailor your resume easier. So if I have one resume that's on USAJOBS and I duplicate that resume, I can then edit the duplication for maybe a new application that I have where I may need to do some tweaking or tailoring of that resume. So the USAJOBS Build a Resume allows you to duplicate it, which also allows you to tailor it easier for additional applications. Once you enter the resume information and select complete resume and preview resume, USAJOBS will give you a preview opportunity of your resume. That preview opportunity, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in our presentation, will let you know what your resume length is. It will let you know if you're exceeding 2 pages or if you've met the requirement. Now, regardless if you've built your resume on USAJOBS or you've uploaded one using a different format such as PDF or Word, we're encouraging everyone to make their resume searchable. When you sign into your USAJOBS profile, you'll go to the document section of your profile, and then from there you will go to the resume section of that document section. From there is where you'll have the ability to upload or create multiple resumes, up to 5, and then you are allowed to make at least 1 searchable. That resume will be searchable for 12 months. The benefits of making your resume searchable is so that federal recruiters may contact you directly about job opportunities or career events. Or recruiters sometimes can match your skills and your resumes directly with opportunities that they're trying to fill that may not even be on USAJOBS. So you can sometimes get opportunities that may not even be public to everyone. So that's why it's important to make your resume searchable so that your information, such as your resume and elements of your profile, is searchable so that federal recruiters and hiring managers can find you. So again, remember, starting from that September 27th date of this year, USAJOBS started to not accept resumes that are longer than 2 pages. If you upload or build a resume that is longer than 2 pages, you will get a system notification telling you to edit your resume further to make it shorter so it can be saved. USA Jobs has not deleted any resumes or documents in anyone's profile, but if you have a resume that is longer than 2 pages, it is sort of in an unsaved state. So you will need to go back in, edit your resume to be 2 pages or fewer so that you can save it to your profile. All resumes that were searchable before September 27th were expired. After that date, you must go back into your profile and have made your resume searchable again after editing it to make it shorter than 2 pages. So if you had a resume that was searchable after September 27th, we actually wiped it from the database. You will need to go back into USA Jobs if you haven't done so already. Edit your resume to be shorter than 2 pages or fewer, and then go back in and make it searchable again. So here are a couple next steps for you. You can go in and revise your resume if you haven't done so already to make sure that it is fewer than 2 pages. You can sign into your USA Jobs profile once you complete that, and you can upload your resume or build it. Again, you want to make sure that your resume is searchable. If it was searchable before September 27th and you haven't made any edits, you want to make sure that you go in and make any edits so that you can go back in and make it searchable. After you've done that, you can go in and start applying to jobs on USA Jobs and attend some resume workshops and other events that are hosted by different agencies. Once I transition over to USA Jobs, we actually are going to highlight the USA Jobs events page where you can find out more about different events like the events that you're attending today. Agencies host their own workshops and their own career-related events and hiring events. And so we will showcase that information so you can see where you can find out more information about that. Thank you guys for participating in our session. You can follow us on LinkedIn, and that information will be in the comment section for you to get updates on federal hiring and get notified about critical job openings and learn more about federal job search and application tips. Again, you can also visit us on the USA Jobs events page. That will also be linked in the comments for you to find and register and attend for other agency events and career-related events. You can also visit the USA Jobs Help Center. That link will also be in the comment section for you to learn more about resumes, best practicing, and navigating USA Jobs and federal hiring processing. Okay. So now we are in USA Jobs, and from here, I am going to be able to showcase my USA Jobs profile. Once you sign into USA Jobs, you will come to your personalized dashboard. This is where you will have an opportunity to look and review at the status of all of your applications. So as you're applying to opportunities in USA Jobs, we store all of your applications in your personalized dashboard where you can review the status of your application. We also allow you to review your saved jobs. What I like about USA Jobs is as I'm doing my job search, sometimes I come across opportunities that I don't have an opportunity to apply to in that particular moment. Or maybe my resume hasn't met the 2-page requirement yet, but I really want to save this opportunity so I can apply to it at a later time. In USA Jobs, you are allowed to save those opportunities to your profile. You can star the applications and they will be saved in your personalized dashboard so that you can apply to them when you're ready. You can also create saved searches in USA Jobs. So if you're looking for particular opportunities in a particular location, or maybe you're looking for particular opportunities, let's say that are open to veterans or students, you can create particular searches in USA Jobs, just like you would on your favorite shopping platforms. And then you will get saved search emails every morning with curated lists of job opportunities that meet those saved search requirements. So it allows you to essentially make USA Jobs do the work for you, where they will send you emails every morning with lists of opportunities that meet that saved search criteria that you have set up. You can set up as many saved searches as you want. And again, if you are not familiar with using USA Jobs or you're new to USA Jobs, saved search is a really great way to start so that you can get opportunities sent to you every morning. From here, we can transition to my profile. And again, what's really great about the USA Jobs profile as it relates to the resume is that if you have a profile that is complete, these elements, USA Jobs will use it to create a resume for you if you decide to build one on USA Jobs. Again, you are welcome to upload one, whether it's PDF or Word. But if you want to use the Build a Resume functionality on USA Jobs, we will pull elements from your profile to start building that resume for you. So again, you want to make sure that you have your contact information. You want to make sure you have your demographic information. You want to make sure you have your citizen information. You also want to make sure that you have hiring path information. What's important about the hiring paths is that it allows you to identify yourself. So as you can see, I identify in a couple of different ways. I am a US citizen. I am also a veteran. I identify as an individual with a disability. I also identify as a student, and I also identify as a federal employee. Now, when I'm looking for opportunities, I have these visuals to let me know opportunities that are open to people that might fall into these buckets, right? Agencies have different flexibilities. And sometimes they will recruit for veterans. Sometimes they might recruit for a student. Sometimes they may recruit for a recent grad. And so now I can look at these opportunities to say, how are these agencies trying to recruit and who are they trying to look for? So you want to make sure that you have this information in your profile, because also if you make your resume searchable, this information will be searchable. And again, it allows agencies to find you. You also want to make sure that you're filling out your work experience, whether that's federal experience, private sector experience, or military experience. You also want to make sure that your information includes your education, and again, any languages if you have that information. From here, you also have the document section of your profile. This is where you get to upload a resume or build a resume. The resume and document section is broken out into two sections. So you have resume and then other documents. In the resume section, you can upload up to 5 resumes, but you can only make one searchable. And you can see here that this one has been marked searchable, or I'm actually going to make it searchable right now. So I made that searchable. And again, it tells me when it is searchable, and it is searchable for 1 year. I can upload 4 more resumes if I want to, but again, only one can be searchable. You also have other documents. In the other documents section, we give you 10 slots. So this is where you get to upload your college transcripts. This is where you would upload any additional documentation that the agency may be requesting, such as things like, you know, a performance appraisal if that's what they're asking for, or a DD-214 if you might be a veteran, or an SF-50 if you're a current federal employee. So we do give you 10 slots in this section to upload additional documents. There will always be additional documents in addition to the resume that you will need to attach to your application. Again, read the job announcement to see what are the additional documents that that agency might be asking for. They will highlight that information in the job announcement to say, this is what we need in your application. So you want to make sure, again, you're reading through the job announcement. As you're reading through the job announcement, make sure you're annotating those additional documents, upload that into your profile, and make sure you're attaching that to your application when you're ready to apply. From here, you also have additional search preferences that you can highlight. So if you want to highlight any travel or relocation, any appointment types, additional hiring paths, again, this information will be made available to the agency if you make your resume searchable. So if your resume is searchable, elements of your profile will be searchable. So again, it makes agencies easier to try to recruit you. Once you are finished going through your profile, you'll come to the USA Jobs landing page. You can always get to our homepage by clicking the USA Jobs logo. That will always bring you back to our homepage. I wanted to make sure that I highlighted the events section. So once you are on USA Jobs, even if you aren't signed into your profile, you will always be able to transition to the USA Jobs events page. All you have to do is click the events button here in the top navigation. From here, it will pull up the events page, and this is where other federal agencies will host their workshops, their hiring events, their resume workshops, their recruiting events. Some of these events are in person, some of them are online. So it's great to see if there are any hiring events that may be happening in your town, or if there are any online events like the one you're participating in today. You can also look to see if any events are being hosted or recruiting specifically for different types of folks. So again, sometimes agencies will host events for veterans or military spouses, or events sometimes are open to the public, some for students and recent grads. So you can use these as additional filters. You can also see what agencies are currently hosting events also. And then you can just scroll through these events and participate and register for as many events as you'd like. So this is the USA Jobs events page. On the landing page, another thing that I wanted to highlight is our Career Explorer. So if you are new to USA Jobs, or you're new to federal hiring, or just new to the federal application process or job searching in the federal sector, I'm going to encourage you to take our Career Explorer. It is a quick quiz, a quick 32 question quiz. Takes about 10 to 15 minutes. We help match you with careers in the federal government based on your interest. You get a science-based results, and you get to explore the opportunities based on the things that we match you with. So again, if you're new to federal hiring and you've never searched for a job, or you're new and you're not sure where to start, I'm going to encourage you to take the USA Jobs Career Explorer. Again, we will match you with career opportunities based on your interests. And you can take the Career Explorer from the homepage. Another thing that I want to highlight from the homepage is those hiring paths that I talked to you about. If you click Learn More About Hiring Paths, it brings you to our Help Center page. That highlights all of the hiring paths that we have. So if you're not sure if you meet the requirements for some of our hiring paths, this is a great page to go to. We go over all of the requirements, all of the documents that you will need to have in your USA Jobs profile, and even opportunities specifically for these types of groups of people. So I'm going to encourage you to go to USA Jobs and read through some of these to make sure that you're not missing out on any opportunities if you do meet the requirements for some of these different hiring paths. Or if, again, you just want to learn more about them, you can get to that Help Center page from our homepage by click Learn More About Hiring Paths. Another thing that I wanted to highlight on our homepage is you can learn more or view more about different career fields. So if you click View More Career Fields, you will come to our unique career opportunities in government. So we have artificial intelligence jobs, we have career intelligence jobs, we have jobs with ICE, we have tech opportunities, we have internship opportunities, opportunities with STEM, military spouse opportunities, and so much more. And so if you are interested in looking at some of our career-related opportunities in government, you can get to that page also by our homepage. So that concludes our presentation today. Thank you everyone for participating. We are now going to open it up for some Q&A.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for this presentation. Um, I had a couple questions. Where can I find more information about upcoming agency hiring events or informational sessions like this one?
Thanks for that question. So if you go to the USA Jobs events page, and we will make sure that we drop the links in the chat or in the comment section. And you can view that by going to USA Jobs. That is www.usajobs.gov. And if you go there, you can get to our events page by clicking on the icon in the top nav, but we will drop the link for that in the chat for you.
And a bit of a follow-up question to that. Does USA Jobs have any social media platforms that I can follow for updates?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do have a YouTube channel and we do have a LinkedIn page. A recording to this session will actually be on our YouTube channel soon. And we will drop links to our YouTube channel and our LinkedIn page in the chat. On LinkedIn, you can get updates about hiring events, job searches, and any other career federal opportunities.
Would you be able to share a resume template with us that we can use?
So USA Jobs doesn't provide an official template on resumes, but we have great resources that explain what to include and how to format your resume for the new 2-page limit. You can find detailed guidance at the applicant guidance on 2-page resume limit by OPM. USA Jobs also has an update your resume to meet the new 2-page limit requirement on our help center. And then USA Jobs also has a how do I write a federal resume page also. And all of those links will be in the comment section for you.
And should I still include a professional summary or core competencies section on the 2-page resume?
So that's a great question. Those sections are optional. Include them only if they help show how you meet the qualifications in the job announcement. Since space is limited, focus on content that directly supports your eligibility and highlights your relevant experience. Think of every line as a valuable real estate. Use it wisely.
Do I need to list my supervisor's information for each position?
So that's optional unless the job announcement specifically requests it. Allow for instructions in the job announcement. So again, we consider that optional, but make sure you're reading through the job announcement because it could be a required element.
Another question for you. Does the 2-page limit apply to other documents like the letters of recommendation or work samples?
That's a great question. No, the 2-page limit only applies to the resume. So any supporting documents like letters of recommendation, transcripts, project write-ups can still be uploaded separately if the job announcement allows it and requires it.
So are references required on the resume still?
So references are not always required. Check the job announcement for any additional information you need to include, such as references or professional memberships or certifications. If not requested, you can simply leave them off.
And the USA Jobs resume builder that you mentioned, will that automatically adjust for the new 2-page limit?
Yes, the system will alert you if your resume exceeds 2 pages. You won't be able to submit a resume that is longer than 2 pages, and that includes the builder resume.
Can I still keep multiple resumes on USA Jobs?
Yes, you can store up to 5 resumes in your USA Jobs profile. Plus, again, you can make one of the 5 searchable resumes so that hiring managers can view your searchable information.
Another question. If I had a career ladder position, do I need to list each grade level separately?
You can combine them into one entry. Just make sure to note how long you served at the highest grade level so HR can verify your time and grade.
And do we need to include salary for each position?
No, we don't recommend including salary information in your resume. But again, read through the job announcement and make sure that that's not something that the agency could be requesting.
Okay, and then also in the training, GPA was mentioned as required, but in USA Jobs it says optional. Which of those is correct?
Follow the job announcement. If education is a required qualification, include your GPA with your educational details. If education is not a requirement, then GPA might be optional for you.
So I'm a veteran. Should I still list my military service on my resume if USA Jobs has a military section?
That's optional. Your military documentation, such as your DD-214, will provide the needed verification. You don't have to duplicate it on your resume if you don't want to.
How should we format employment dates on the resume?
Use the month and year format. So for example, 05-2019 to 08-2022.
And do I need to upload my prior documents?
That's a great question. But no, your previously uploaded documents remain saved in your USA Jobs profile.
So my current resume is like 10 pages long. If I cut it down to 2 pages, won't that create employment gaps?
Great question, but not necessarily. You can summarize less relevant experience in one cohesive line while keeping full details for your most relevant positions. For example, for a project manager, you could just say something like managed a large project for XYZ agency from 2019 to 2022. That keeps your history complete without using unnecessary real estate.
So if my resume exceeds 2 pages and I'm found ineligible, can I reapply?
The USA Jobs functionality 100% ensures you upload or build a resume that is 2 pages or fewer. So if you do apply to a job on USA Jobs, you won't be able to submit your application if your resume is longer than 2 pages. So your resume will be incomplete and you won't be able to reapply.
Good question. Can I download a copy of my resume if I create it using the resume builder?
Yes, you can download your resume as a PDF or a text file directly from your USA Jobs profile.
I'm a former federal employee, and I was recently involuntarily separated from federal service. Should I still list federal employee as my hiring path if I'm CTAP or ICTAP eligible?
No, if you've been separated due to a reduction in force, considered a RIF, update your hiring path in your profile to be a career transition program employee. That might be CTAP, ICTAP, or RPO in your USA Jobs profile.
My DD-214 and SF50 both show my full social security number. Should I upload them as is?
No, always redact your social security number or any sensitive information in your documents before uploading into your profile. You only need to show the last 4 digits if it's a requirement, but redact any sensitive information on any additional documentation that you upload into your USA Jobs profile.
And then last question, I'm applying for a job where the job announcement requires I provide my full academic publication history. This would make my resume longer than 2 pages. So how can I meet this job announcement requirement?
Some agencies and federal jobs are exempt from the aren't exempt from the 2 page limit. Always read the job announcement carefully to understand the required documents. If the job announcement requires you to provide a list of your academic or professional achievements or publications, we recommend you upload that as other documents in your profile or any supplemental information in the other document section of your profile and label it a CV. You can also upload a short 2 page resume that briefly explains your work experience. When you apply to the job, you can select your 2 page resume, and then you can select your CV when asked to provide those additional documents. Are there any additional questions?
No, I believe that's all the questions. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for participating in today's session and have a good day.